This video will cover the installation of the new T&T Custom's stubby winch bumper on a 2008 Jeep Wrangler JK. This is not your average bumper installation, as it requires the removal of the front portion of the frame and the cross brace in order to mount the winch below the grille. This is what the front of your Jeep will look like once you've removed the grille, the bumper, and the front sway bar assembly. This is the cross brace that you will be removing to install the bumper. To remove the cross brace, I used a reciprocating saw to cut the welds on all four sides of the frame rails. Be careful and make sure all your electrical is out of the way of the blade. You can then use the saw to connect the cuts previously made. At this point, once both sides are cut, they should knock off with a hammer. Now use a grinder to get those frame rails nice and smooth and flush. The bumper came with some templates that you bolt to the frame to mark it to determine where to cut the frame. However, the templates did not have the cutout that was necessary to place them around the body mount. Therefore, I placed them inside the bumper and marked the location to cut. I then cut the template so that it would fit around the body mount. Use the bolts which attach the sway bar to the frame to attach the template in the same location. I also used a clamp to keep the template steady for the next part of the process. Cut the frame rails along the template, then remove that template and place the opposing one on the other side of the frame rail. Then cut along that side of the template. Once again, use the reciprocating saw to connect the cuts you made on each side of the frame rail. Place the bumper onto the frame rails and use these sway bar bolts to hold it in place. With the bumper attached to the frame rails, center punch the frame through the holes in the sides of the bumper. Now drill holes in the frame, starting with 1/8 inch drill bit and then working your way up to a 1/2 inch. You will also have to continue those 1/2 inch holes through the other side of the frame. Now remove the sway bar bolts holding the bumper on, remove the bumper, and spray paint any exposed metal with some kind of rust prevention type spray paint. The next step will be very individualized, as now is when you will wire in any lights, your winch, and then plumb any air lines that you want to have attached to your bumper. Once all your wiring and plumbing are done, it's time to bolt that puppy on. Use the sway bar bolts that came originally on your vehicle, and then the 1/2 inch bolts that run through the bumper and through the frame. It is recommended that you wait to bolt down the winch until after the side bolts have been put in. This makes it easier to move the winch around within the bumper so that you can get to the nuts. I used one of the existing holes in the top of the bumper to route my air line through. As you can see, I also needed to trim the grille so that the lever on the winch could be activated. Here's a picture of the underside of the bumper and the winch bolts. As you can see, I had to drill new holes for the winch because with the fairlead installed, the winch would not line up with the holes. T&T designed this bumper to be run with a dual rate type sway bar mounted on top of the frame rails. There are numerous modifications required to mount the sway bar in this manner. The body mounts must be cut away and a new way of mounting the body fabricated. If you wish to mount the sway bar in the stock location, it is necessary to use a 1 inch spacer to space the sway bar down low enough to clear the winch. Well, that completes the installation of the T&T Custom stubby winch bumper. I am really happy with the build quality of this bumper and super stoked on the approach angle that I now have. Go to jkadventure.com for other useful videos.